It's a little hard composing my own eulogy, but for those of you who will be in attendance at my funeral, you may want to take some notes tonight. You know, Moose made this beautiful speech for me, so all I have to do is read it. This honor is not about what Kevin Gleason has accomplished. This honor is about the vision of the Blessed Father William Joseph Chaminade and Sister Marie-Therese. Over 200 years ago, when the world could either fall into the darkness of anarchy or emerge from the strife and division of civil war into an age of enlightenment, Father Chaminade and Sister Marie-Therese saw a way toward a better world. Their plan was to bring together Christians of all backgrounds, ages, genders, forming a new family, publicly declaring themselves a Christian community, inspired by the Blessed Mother, nurturing faith and encouraging lifestyles emulating the gospel. This was the charism of Father Chaminade. A charism is a living gift, a breath of the Creator Spirit that never simply repeats the past, but constantly adapts to the times and places, to the socio-cultural context and needs of people everywhere. Applying the charism of Father Chaminade to the needs of the times, the Marianists formulated the characteristics of Marianist education. The devoted and experienced educators at Chaminade-Madonna Preparatory sculpt each student during each class period, year after year, for now 46 years, providing a quality integral education in a family spirit, which encourages formation in faith, encourages service, justice, and peace, and most importantly, emphasizes adaptation and change. How am I doing, Moose? Just the way you wrote it. Okay, good. 35 years ago, I walked the hallways of this school for the first time and was sculpted in the tradition of the Marianist education. Having come from 1,200 miles away, just 6 weeks before the beginning of school, I knew no one. In the nurturing and encouraging Marianist environment, during the next 4 years, I was, and here's the eulogy part, sophomore homeroom representative, junior class president, student council president senior year, elected top teen of the city of Hollywood in 1975, student of the year in 1975, Hollywood Elks, ran cross country, participated in track and field, basketball, played marching and concert band, became the band major senior year, president of the National Honor Society, salutatorian of my class, scored the 95th percentile of the SATs, and was accepted on early admission to the only Ivy League university to which I applied. Upon graduation, I was so exhausted that I did very little thereafter. But just as a salmon has no choice but to follow its instinct to go upriver, one who has been sculpted in the Marianist tradition is compelled to adapt and change to serve and to promote justice and peace. Not seeing much opportunity to promote justice and peace with a degree in hotel administration, I was drawn to law, where I naturally fell into service of financial lepers, persons who, through the cruel reality of capitalism, find themselves unable to fulfill their financial obligations. Frank Borman once said, "Capitalism without bankruptcy is like Christianity without hell." It's true. My clients come through financial hell and are redeemed to permit them to serve and promote justice and peace. I'd like to leave you with a cameo of a person who would have been my client. His picture is on the $10 silver certificates you each have on your table. Robert Morris' signature appears in the shadow and below to the right of John Hancock. You may recognize this document. It is the Declaration of Independence. How apropos that for a man whose contribution to the Revolutionary War was overshadowed by George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. Mr. Morris managed the finances of the Continental Army, an unlikely alliance of statesmen and farm boys who won independence from the British Empire by hurling hot lead at the bodies of enemy troops. In the winter of 1777, the Continental Army camped at Valley Forge needed $10,000, over $1 million in today's dollars, to obtain intelligence on the strength and movements of the enemy at Trenton. General Washington wrote in desperation to Robert Morris to raise the necessary funds. On horseback, Mr. Morris rode into the Quaker countryside of Pennsylvania, and on the strength of his reputation, even before FICO scores, he raised the funds to the service of the general, which enabled a starving band of ill-equipped Americans to win the Battle of Trenton, December 26, 1777, a crucial victory in the American Revolution. Later in the Revolution, the Army was running out of lead. The good people of the continent had already donated their clockweights, rain gutters, and downspouts to be figuratively turned from plowshares into swords. Mr. Morris knew of a 90-ton shipment of lead coming into the port at Philadelphia, but the Continental Treasury held insufficient funds. With his word as his only bond, Mr. Morris bought 45 tons of lead to supply the Continental Army, a bridge to the British surrender in Yorktown in 1781. In summary of his public service, a historian has noted that Americans owe and still owe as much acknowledgement to the financial operations of Robert Morris as to the negotiations of Ben Franklin or even the arms of George Washington. Why then, you might ask, would Robert Morris have been a client of Kevin Gleason if Back to the Future DeLorean could carry me back 205 years? Because after the war, Mr. Morris borrowed money and invested in land, including what would become Washington, D.C. He was unable to repay his debts. Less than a decade after the effective date of another document you might recognize, this is the Constitution of the United States. Less than a decade after the effective date of this document, on which his signature appears in the lower right-hand corner, Mr. Morris was confined in debtor's prison for 2 to 3 years until the passage of this country's first bankruptcy law in 1800, of which he availed himself for release from prison in 1801. In now my 25th year of serving the likes of Robert Morris, I've been an agent of justice and peace. And I'm grateful to this school that I've benefited from the charism of Father Chaminade. Chaminade-Madonna College Preparatory, educating to achieve adaptation and change to serve justice and peace. I humbly accept my nomination to the Alumni Hall of Fame, not for my accomplishments, but as a reflection of the vision of Father Chaminade and Sister Marie-Therese, who planted the seeds which grew into this institution, an institution dedicated to assisting each individual to find his or her highest and best use to make the world a better place.